Are you listening? This ain't no quiet thing. We're screaming out our lungs. Hey, are you listening? Hey, are you there? Hey, are you listening? Or do you just not care?
Well, welcome to Hey, Are You Listening? This is a podcast exploring the past, present, and future of Christian music. My name is Joel. I'm here with my good friend Brandon. We connected over a mutual love of some particular artists, but have pretty different tastes when it comes to things. And so we get to experience new stuff from each other and invite some friends along for the ride today. We actually have a friend with us today. You may know him from his time as a writer at Jesus Freak Hideout. He's the author of a series of books called Burlwood Forest. He's a husband, dad, all-around rad dude, and a huge fan of the band Boys Like Girls. It's my friend, John Choquette. Hey, John.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Hey guys, thanks for having me on. I thought you were the big fan, and I was actually going to mention that, but you kind of beat me to it. So I'm glad that we can bond over that love of Boys Like Girls.
I still don't think I've ever listened to a Boys Like Girls album ever in my life. So.
Oh, well, their new one is really different actually than some of their older stuff. My kids do like it, but I have to kind of turn the volume down in a couple choice words.
It makes sense. You should.
Yeah, not recommended with this podcast specifically.
All right. Well, John, we're pumped that you're here. Tell us a little bit about how Christian music kind of entered into your world.
Yes. So, I mean, really for the first, I don't know, 18 years, that's kind of all I listened to. Some of the classics like DC Talk, Audio Adrenaline, Newsboys. Then, of course, some other classics, like Avalon and Point of Grace. Slightly different direction, but I don't know, just grew up in church, and that's just what we listened to, and just really enjoyed that. Lots of really good memories of singing and, road trips in the car with my family and some of our stuffed animals singing along, which I guess was just me singing in like a weird voice. But yeah, just I don't know. I loved it. I love music. Took piano for a really long time and kind of picked up some other instruments like drums and guitar along the way, and just always wanted to be a part of it and listen to it, and it's really been a big part of my life. So.
That's cool. How did you get into writing for Jesus Freak Hideout?
So, always wanted to write. I don't know if it was just the idea that, with writing, you sometimes get to do your own thing, and I really like that, or just a way to combine two things I love to do. So just the writing and the music. It's really easy. Just kind of reached out. And they were like, "Oh yeah, this guy's great." I was like, "Awesome, yeah, let's do it." And I wrote for them for 10 years. I did, I think it was 2006 through 2016. So hate to say how long it's been since then, but it was a really really good time. And honestly, kind of getting introduced to some music that I maybe wouldn't have picked out myself otherwise, but also just getting to meet some other people through that also really love music and Christian music specifically, and it's a really fun community to be a part of.
That's really cool. So you started doing that not long, probably after we kind of parted ways. So let's see, we met when I moved to North Carolina. Emily and I got married, moved to North Carolina for me to go to school, to go to seminary, and we ended up at the same church. And you were in high school while I was there, and I kind of like volunteered in the student ministry there, and that's how we got to know each other. Do you have any memories of those days?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I just remember you were the coolest person that I'd ever met. And I'm not just Well, I mean, I am kind of trying to butter you up, but like, it's just, I don't know. You just have this and still do this quite kind of cool about you. I actually was looking back, and I'm the president of a Joel Ainsworth Facebook club. I don't know if you know this. This may be the first time you're hearing about this. It's called Joel Ainsworth Enough Said. And I started this 19 years ago. And actually, and this is where our previous conversation ties in. This is the tagline in the group. I don't know if this is like a private group or a public group that now everyone could go join, but it says from rock star to youth pastor, he's the man, and he's got a smoking hot wife, which is what this actually says. And it says he also loves boys like girls. So that's the actual tagline of this Facebook group, and it currently has 3 members. One of them doesn't appear to have Facebook anymore, so maybe you could say 2, but I think it was a stronger, group maybe 19 years ago. But yeah, just I mean, it's on first meeting you, like I just thought you're really cool, and kind of being that young, impressionable sort of teenager. It's like, man, this guy's everything I want to be, and it just sort of became this friendship and try to go down and see you in Charleston and stuff, and haven't seen you in a few years. So I don't know if this counts, but we definitely need to get down and hang out again.
It, it,
And
it definitely counts for something. So
okay,
I'm
you will,
super.
because you keep trying to get me to move there. And I was going to say, after all the snow we've had up here in North Carolina, it's kind of you're working on me. It's getting closer, but you told me that you also had snow, so that's maybe not as much.
It's already gone though. So, well,
Okay.
but I've been working on you guys for years and it hasn't happened yet. So I'm kind
Well,
of thinking it's probably not gonna.
don't give up. What kind of message does that send to your kids? You can't give up. What? I mean, you never know. Like we talk about it all the time, all the time.
Yeah. Well,
So I actually get a lot of Zillow notifications from the Charleston area because I'm always looking at houses that I can't afford, and I'm like, oh, that's a nice one. Like it's only 1.5 million, which is only
only.
because
Yeah.
some of them come through that are like 10 million.
Yeah.
So
Well, there are a few of those here. Yeah.
Just for the
yeah,
record, that Facebook group is still active. So anyone listening
yeah,
can go join Joel
yes,
Ainsworth.
please
Enough
do,
said.
please
Is
do.
it public or private?
I could see everyone's post on here.
And there are posts from people who, for whatever reason, have left the group.
One person
So I
said,
don't.
one time Joel and Emily came to eat at my house on Easter Sunday. So you made a huge impact 20 years ago at
Yeah.
Catherine's house.
Catherine's awesome. It bums me out though that there's only 3 people left. I wonder.
I
Yeah.
feel like the way you said that though makes it sound like they all died, but I think Facebook's just been around a while, and some people just aren't as active as they used to be.
Yeah. Maybe that's part of it. I can't
Let's
help it.
go with that.
I can't help but think about all the people that actively like chose to leave the group.
Yeah, but I didn't. I just for the record, I didn't.
I appreciate that so much, and I appreciate
And
you,
I
man.
put the boys like girls thing there because I know that they still matter. They still matter.
Well, I'm really, really excited to have you on. You're one of the first people I thought about when we started this podcast. Of John would be a great guest. Obviously, you know what you're talking about when it comes to Christian music, and I knew it'd just be a fun conversation. So
Thanks.
we're
That is a lot to live up to. So we'll see. Maybe you can edit that part out if it doesn't go well.
sounds good. Well, you brought us an album today. Hawk Nelson's album, Letters to the President. And so we're going to get into that in just a little bit. But before we do that, let's talk about what's in the news.
What's in the news? What's in the news?
All right. So I have a couple of things to talk about that are going on in the news and love for y'all's input. One of the things that we just covered in a recent episode, Brandon, was this Christian music fake news stuff that's going around on social media. And I pointed out the Facebook page Made to Move, which is a fake news site all about Toby Mac. John, if you haven't checked this out, you need to go and check it out online. But it's essentially a page of all AI written fake news stories about Toby Mac. And there are these pages out there about so many other artists too. Brandon Lake. I've seen one
Mm-hmm.
about now like CeCe Winans, Chris Tomlin.
Yeah, they're all on my page since we talked about it, so I appreciate that.
You're so welcome. But I just noticed yesterday, and you actually sent me too, like
Mm-hmm.
right around the same time, that Toby Mac actually just officially responded
Mm-hmm.
to this Made to Move Facebook page and called it out as fake news.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd like to think a little bit that we had a part to play in bringing this to his attention, because I know he's like an avid listener of the
Yeah,
podcast.
we brought it to Toby's attention, and I think we're just helping people. We're helping him break through the fake news. We're helping Skillet release Christmas music. We're just helping everyone out.
Doing
That's
all
what we
kinds
do.
of things. John, did you know?
Yeah.
Do you know about these pages at all? These fake news pages?
No, I feel like if you're on one of them though, you've really made it. I mean, I think I would be flattered personally, and I hope that all of these people join the Joel Ainsworth Enough Said Facebook group, because it sounds like you really have made a difference, and that's just what it's all about.
If we can avoid AI news stories about me, though, that would be really great. So, yeah, I just thought it was interesting to see an artist finally address this stuff kind of head on and say, hey, this is not good. This is wrong. And don't listen to this. And so it's going to be interesting to see how all this continues to play out. So I don't know. We'd love to hear your thoughts about that too, listeners. So if you want to message us and let us know what you think about all that. But I think we need like a campaign of people getting on and like reporting these pages to get Facebook's attention, maybe to shut them down. So another news thing that popped up for me was, I don't know if you guys saw this, but John James, who is the original singer for the Newsboys. So before Michael Tate was Peter Furler. And before Peter Furler was the singer, he was the drummer. And Newsboys had a singer by the name of John James. John James is back. He's kind of been out of the spotlight for years at this point. Not in the Newsboys, but he's got a new book, an autobiography coming out, and a new album coming out, a solo album.
Oh wow!
And so the book kind of chronicles like everything that's happened in his life.
Yeah.
I guess Newsboys on. And apparently there's been like some dark periods, some dark stuff that he's kind of walked through, some hard things. And the solo record that he's got coming out is called God of the Second Chance. And I haven't had a chance to listen to any of it yet, but apparently if you pre-order the book and you email in a screenshot of like your Amazon pre-order to them, they will send you a link to the album to download, which I thought was pretty interesting. So I might have to dig into that and check it out. Did you guys ever listen to the Newsboys in the John James days?
I'd say probably, because I mean that's kind of all I listened to back in the day. It was Newsboys plus, of course, Point of Grace and some of the Carmen, some of those classics. But I enjoyed Newsboys at most eras, I would say. So that does sound like a really interesting read, and I might check it out too.
I think his last album with the Newsboys was it Take Me to Your Leader?
I think that was him and Peter sharing,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha.
I think it was.
That was a
maybe,
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think kind of before that, it was pretty much just him. So
Yeah.
like Going Public, which had Shine
Yeah.
on it and stuff, like all that's John James. So
Yeah, then yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
interesting. He used to be known because he would like in concerts wear these like suits that were like metallic and shiny and come out on stage so the lights would like shine and
Yeah.
stuff. Shine. I mean, it fit with the song. I guess that was the point.
I mean, I would totally do that, except I would be wearing shorts because I don't really ever wear like actual pants.
Yes.
So
this
it
is
would be
very
like
true
a
of you.
shorts sort of suit. Well, I did wear pants today in the snow. And actually, my legs got colder than when I wear shorts. So I don't even know why I did it, or when I wear pants. I don't know.
That's cool though. That's when you were first saying that he's releasing something. I was hoping you were going to say book.
Yeah.
I know a couple years ago I read Mark Stewart's book, and I appreciated that like it went into a lot of stuff that like I'd never like heard about. And I think that's cool because I think a lot of that stuff either it's just not popular enough to be picked up by a bigger publication, or I think that like I think even in today's world, a lot of times if it's not necessarily like the best news, it kind of gets buried by this or that. Like for me personally, I've appreciated like Jesus Freak Hideout. I feel like when something drops, you're gonna get like,
Yeah.
here's what's happening. Whereas with some other news, you have other websites that sometimes is a, how can we not release this, or how can we kind of ignore that this thing's happening or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm pretty excited to get to see what kind of he dives into with stuff.
Yeah, it'll be interesting too. Apparently a lot of the record harkens back to some of those early like Newsboys days stylistically. So it'd be interesting to check out. All right. Well, let's play a game.
Let's play, let's play. It's time to play a game. Let's play, it's time to play a game.
All right, so our game today is going to be a game of CCM 20 questions. And so I love doing these because I get to sit on the side of the microphone where I know what it is that I'm thinking of in my head. But you guys get 20 yes or no questions to ask me to try and figure out what album that I have in my head. And so you get to ask those questions. You can ask me when you think you have a guess for the artist, what the artist is, but you only get one guess on the album for the final. So you ready?
Yeah, the pressure's on. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. I'm actually going to pull up some notes on it on here just so I don't mess things up when you ask me questions and I can answer more correctly. So, but I'm ready to go when you are.
So is the lead singer a female? I think that's always my first question.
It is. And as always, the answer is no.
So is it a band then? Is it a band?
Yes, this is a band. Yeah.
Was it released after 2000?
Yes.
Okay. Was it released after 2010?
No.
Okay.
That
Nailed
narrows it down. That's all.
We're coming for you, man.
It's
We
your
got
favorite
this. This
decade,
is-
Brandon.
Yeah.
Well, I love that decade. I mean, I was young, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I enjoyed sidebar. I enjoyed going through. I've always enjoyed Jesus Free Hideout's year end best of. So I was enjoying going through your picks for the years. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I should go do that and see.
See what you
Yeah.
put. See if you still like it.
Yeah.
That's
there's
interesting.
a lot of agreement. I feel like there's
Oh.
Okay.
some
That's
disagreement
awesome.
though.
Yeah.
So, but,
Cool.
Well,
was this band on Goatee Records?
No.
were they on Tooth and Nail Records?
Yes.
Okay. When I need to go pull up like Wikipedia or something. That's probably cheating
That's probably
and not
cheating.
reliable. So, uh,
I think that's 6
Mhm.
questions.
man, you're a stickler. Wow. Okay. It's kind of like, or it's not like when I tell my kids, like it'll be 5 minutes, but it's really 20 because they haven't noticed like the actual number. Okay. And is it,
Is this is this album or is this artist still producing music?
oh, that's a good question.
Yes.
I want to ask if it's Hawk Nelson, but that just seems like too obvious for this particular. So that's not a question. That's like the genie in Aladdin when you get the free one when they escape the cave, you know? Uh, do they have the same lead singer that they had back then?
Good question. Yes.
Okay.
Um, is there a number in the artist name?
No.
Oh, man, I was really hoping you were going to say yes.
Is the artist name one word?
Yes, that's 10. That's a good question.
Have we reviewed this artist on the podcast before?
No.
Is the artist a heavier sounding band?
I mean,
And that's like a really vague question because I don't know. Feel free to reveal more about them while you're trying to figure this out.
I don't like. I'm not going to count that as a question because I feel like it's a little hard to answer.
That's why I asked it.
I will just say,
Sorry.
I will just remind you, they're on Tooth and Nail, not on Solid State.
Solid State, right? Okay.
So
I forget. You say that there. Did we ask if it was one name, or more?
he asked if it was one word. Their
It's
name
one
was
word?
It is, yes.
Does it start with an A?
No.
Oh,
Uh, is it a? Nope, that's kind of a. Yeah. This is hard. This is hard. Does the band have a piano in it?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes.
does the name start with a vowel?
I feel like Brandon's really got something in mind.
No.
That only narrows it down to 21 letters now.
But that helps. That helps. Uh,
I think you guys can do this.
How many questions we got left?
That's, I think, 14. Just think through some of the things. Tooth and Nail Band,
One word.
2000, 2010, one word.
Piano.
Piano.
No female vocalist. No lead vocalist.
Right. Not a vowel.
Yeah.
is the album name multiple words?
Yes.
Okay.
You said they're still releasing stuff.
Yeah. I will. They're an active band.
Do they know that they're an active band, or just
Yes. I'm
Okay.
not gonna count that. Y'all are at 15 now.
I keep wanting to guess Jonesetta, but that literally there's some. um.
so? Can I say yes or no? Can we do yes or no for the band? Like as long as we don't do yes or no for the album and get that wrong?
Yeah, you
Like,
can. Yeah, you can ask about the artist.
Is the band May?
Yes.
Look at that. Yes. Wikipedia. Right. Okay.
I only know one May album, so I'm really gonna need John to.
I mean, so there's their first one, that's a little more chill. Their second one was the more piano heavy one, is the one I'm sort of leaning towards, which was right there in 2005,
Does
which is right in the zone of the,
does this
you know,
album come with a like storybook?
No.
Oh, no, I'm out then.
oh, um, was the storybook one, was that the Everglow? That's for
Yeah, that's
Brandon.
what I
not
was thinking of.
Did uh did this album come before the Everglow?
Yes.
Then it has to be Destination Beautiful.
Yes. That's 19. You guys got there. Way to
Look at
go.
that. Oh my goodness.
Good
Wow.
job. I knew.
I always think of you when I think of that album because that, I don't know, that guy just reminds me of you. He's just chill, but also cool. But not a member of the Facebook group, so I'll have to contact him.
We'll have to get Dave on there. That'd be great. Yeah. Good job, guys. You did it. Congratulations.
Yes. I want to go tell my kids, but I'll tell them after we record this.
Feel
They'll be
it
so
was,
proud.
It
They'll
was
be
a
like,
real joint effort.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what that band is, but good job, Dad.
they should. You need to.
Well, I mean, they would recognize, like, yeah, you know, kids these
Yeah,
days.
I got it. All right, so let's go check the mail.
Check the mail. Check the mail. Who, what, when, how, why? Check the mail.
All right, so our mail today comes from friend of the show and past guest, Andrew Blaylock. He says, Brandon and Joel, I think if I had to pick one CCM artist to rescue me from an abandoned island, it would be Rebecca St. James. Aussies are just wired differently. She could get the job done. Yeah, what do you think about Rebecca St. James as being an island rescuer? We did a whole segment about being on an island and who we would want to be stranded on an island with, who we would want to rescue us. So what do we think about Rebecca St. James as a rescuer?
I feel like I don't know her that well. I feel like I know a little bit of her music, but I feel like I'm that generation that's like, oh, isn't she like the older sister for King and Country?
Shame on you. I'm just kidding.
I mean, yeah, Australia's an island, so maybe I'm just being rescued off of Australia. They have a lot of weird animals there. If I'm not like in the city, I'm probably gonna want to leave because I don't like snakes or spiders or any of that. So hopefully, yeah, she can kind of help me out.
Hopefully she can get the
I'm
job
for it.
done.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't really know. But it's an interesting take, Andrew. And so I feel like she would have a nice smiling face as she's coming to save you, which would be hopeful and good in a moment like that. So thanks for the comment. And don't forget, you can reach out to us with your own questions or comments for the podcast at heyareyoullisteningpod@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. It'd be great. So let's talk for a second about what we've been listening to lately. What have you guys been listening to?
For me, I feel like I always forget we're doing this segment, so I never have it pulled up. So recently, one of our recent reviews, Grace Graber, she released a punk cover of That's Who I Praise. And I feel like she's just doing a really good job with the covers. I know we discussed this in the episode, her cover of like Everything You Ever Wanted. I feel like she just does a really good job of kind of like punkifying or whatever stuff. So I'm enjoying that cover, and I haven't had a chance to really sit down and really dive into it, but a band that I really loved back in high school, Voda, which people probably remember Brian Olsen. He finished, I think, third on The Voice a couple years ago. and used to be a guitarist in Newsboys. They're back with a new album. It's called Back to the Start. So I'm looking forward to getting to sit down and kind of dive into that album and seeing kind of what's in that.
That's cool. Grace Graber, I think, is doing a whole album of covers.
Oh, really?
From what I have noticed online, that she said there's an album coming later this year of just punk versions of like worship songs or whatever it may be. So I thought that was kind of interesting. John, have you listened to any Grace Graber ever?
No, just check it out, I guess.
Yeah, she might be up your
Sounds fun.
alley music wise, so you should check it
Yeah.
out. Cool. What have you been
Wow.
listening to lately?
So kind of three main things. In my car, it's sort of an endless sort of rotation of 21 Pilots CDs. My son really likes those, and he's just like, "Oh, let's do this one." I'm like, "We just listened to that one," and then he convinces me anyway, because whatever. But they're on actual like CDs because I don't know. I feel like he should appreciate the classic way of listening to things, and
The classic
I
way.
probably have the only like running car that still has a CD player. So
You and Brandon
it just feels like
have this in common, this love for CDs. compact
I
discs,
love
so-
CDs. I miss just going to the store and buying, flipping through the covers, and I don't know. It's just so much more fun than digital stuff. But that's probably for another day. So a lot of 21 Pilots in the car. We got a lot of Legos for Christmas, and a lot of them are Harry Potter Legos. So we were making one the other day, and we decided that we needed to listen to the Harry Potter soundtrack while we did it because it just felt like the right thing to do. So just went out and bought that, which is an impulse purchase that I don't regret, and have
you-
really enjoyed
buy-
listening to that.
Did you buy it on CD?
No, unfortunately, no, because it was another one of those snow days. Like we keep
Right.
having snow days, and which are great Lego days, for sure, because you can only sled so long before like you can't get back up the hill, and you're completely frozen. So a lot of Legos, a lot of Harry Potter, but probably the one thing that actually answers your question is I've been listening to a lot of Forrest Frank. So my kids really like him, and we like to watch the YouTube video versions of those. We're like, show me the video on your phone, and because kids and phones, and they're just, I don't know, it's weird. So doing a lot of those, just really getting into him, and yeah, I makes pretty good stuff. So I didn't know him till like the end of last year for some reason. So I've been really out of it.
Cool. Yeah, he's pretty popular out there these days. So
Yeah,
that's cool.
like again, I've been out of it. I don't know.
I feel like there's been a band that showed up a couple of times in my like social media feed, and so I finally I liked what I was hearing there, and so I went and added their record on Apple Music, and it's the band Strings and Heart. Have you heard of them? So
No.
they have an album out called Plastic Wine, and it's super good. It's like modern, like a modern indie band, but like super Christian lyrics. I really like what they're doing a lot musically. I think they're like a 3 or 4 piece, so there's not like a lot of members of the band, but they do a lot of cool and creative kind of things. And so I've just enjoyed listening to that a lot and would recommend it if you're into like kind of like the modern indie sound. They're capturing it really well and doing some really cool things. And so that's an album that came out in 2025. So it's not like a 2026 release, but it's something that I've been listening to a decent amount this year already. And so I definitely recommend that one.
It's kind of made me sad. We did our year-end best of, and there's already been a few artists that I've discovered that released stuff last year. And I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have discovered this. But I
Yeah.
feel like there's just so much, it's like the Jesus Freak Hideout, like the release things. Sometimes you go on there and you realize there's some weeks 10 or 15 stuff that's dropping,
Yeah.
and you're like, you can't get around to all of it. But it's funny the stuff that slips through the cracks sometimes.
Yeah. I can't afford to buy that many CDs, going that round. Got to get that actual CDs.
You
So.
know, John, they have this thing called streaming now,
Whoa.
where you
whoa,
can
Joel,
pay for a
Joel, no.
you can pay for a subscription and listen to anything that you want.
Yes, but why would I do that when I could get a CD?
Because if you try and buy all the CDs, it's really expensive.
Well, it is, but you know, yeah, you're right. But still, the streaming thing, that's like a constant purchase. The CD is only a one-time purchase, so
Hmm.
it feels like less, even though it's definitely not. And it's impractical, and I love it so much. So,
I will say I don't think we've brought it up yet, but the artist we're reviewing today, Hawk Nelson, I felt like one thing growing up that meant a lot to me was they spent so much time on their packaging. So like the Friend Like That one was the disc was like a spin like for the board game, and the lyric like booklet was a board game. So like one was like a paper airplane. That one was a game. I'm trying to think. The one with like zero on it, that Hawk Nelson one, it was like a giant fold out poster. So it was like whenever you bought one of their CDs, you knew you were getting something that you would not get if you bought it off of like Apple, or if you stole it from like Napster or whatever, whoever
yeah.
it was back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, Joel, you put that guy out of business, the guy who made the board game CD thing. And now he's probably living on the street. And he can't afford a subscription to Apple Music and all that
Hey,
because of you specifically, and
I'm
only you.
I'm just older than you guys. I buy everything on vinyl that I love, so
Well,
it's
yeah, I
fine.
mean, I'm waiting for CDs to become cool again, and
Hey,
I will be first in line.
I bought Letters to the President on CD when it came out. Okay? So, like,
That's well, but if it had been like that was the only option. It was
it's true. It
2004.
was the only
It was
option.
2004. My mom probably bought it for me because I was in high school in 2004.
You might have told me to go listen to it. I don't know.
Probably, and I also said that about Boys Like Girls, and you
And
just
that
said you
never
still haven't
worked,
listened
but
to them. So
yeah, I think I bought it at Lifeway for like $5 when it was on sale. But
Ooh, the $5 CDs. I grew up. It was such a treat.
Yeah.
To like get those, or you would get like a pre-order this one and get like a $5 coupon. And I remember as a kid, there's so many artists I discovered like from the $5 sales.
yeah, those were a real bargain. How much are CDs these days?
A lot.
yeah, the Harry Potter soundtrack was a little more than I thought, but kind of already had it in my head. I was like, got this whole Lego. It's 500 pieces. I need the whole soundtrack. So um, I'm not going to say how much it was, but it was worth it. And I would recommend that you make the same choice. So I'm not the only one.
Also, though, could you not just like pull up YouTube and like play the soundtrack on YouTube?
Yeah, but it really gets you out of the mood when you're like you feel like you're in the Gryffindor common room, and then it does
Oh,
this
there's like an
commercial
ad.
for
Yeah.
like some sort of drug, and you're like, it's talking about death and all the side effects, and you're like, yeah,
Yeah, I get it. I don't pay for YouTube either, so I understand
yeah.
that. All right. Well, on that, let's transition and talk through this album that we're covering today. So today we're talking about the album Letters to the President by the band Hawk Nelson. So this is the debut studio album released by Christian pop punk band Hawk Nelson. The album was released on July 13th, 2004 on Tooth and Nail Records. It was later re-released on October 4th, 2005, which I think is actually the release that I bought, with 6 additional tracks and 3 exclusive tracks as a deluxe edition. Jesus Freak Hideout, but not John,
No,
gave this
not yet.
gave this
I think
album
I did like the 2 or 3 next CDs after that, though.
yeah, gave this album 4.5 stars. So let's kind of talk about our opening thoughts. Maybe like how this came across our ears, how we started listening to Hawk Nelson, where we heard him for the first time. I don't know. What do you guys have to say?
So I first heard Hawk Nelson. I don't know. I didn't know I was hearing Hawk Nelson. I heard every little thing somewhere online, probably somewhere legal, not like Napster or any of those. I don't know what the statute of limitations is for illegal downloading, but I heard that song and I was like, I didn't know who it was. It was just a random file that I came across that I liked. I was like, this is a great song, it's catchy. Um, and so I actually had to do a lot of 2004 research to figure out who it was, like
Mm-hmm.
Googling the lyrics. I think it was Google back then. Maybe it was like Ask Jeeves or
Mm-hmm.
something. I don't know. And just like searched every old school way there was. And finally figured out it was Hawk Nelson. I was like, oh, this band's pretty cool. And just really just jumped into it from there. Got the CD. Didn't know there was a 2005 one that had more songs. So I'm gonna have to look for more CDs today. But
I'll sell you.
yeah,
I'll sell you my copy.
okay. It's okay. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Really, just started listening to him from there once I figured out who it was, and just really, really enjoyed, you know, this particular album and just some of their other ones too. So
Mm-hmm. For me, I found them on a Winter Jam. I feel like growing up, that was like before you had like the Spotify's and all. Like even for us, the nearest like Lifeway was an hour from us.
Yeah.
So growing up, there wasn't this like easy access to find like new Christian music. And I remember even at this time, like my mom was like, "Hey, beware of like YouTube," but she let me go on Facebook. So it was just weird. Like, hey, we can't trust what's going on YouTube, but Facebook, that's safe over there. And so like even finding music videos was like you'd wake up Saturday morning and hope you found something on like first it was like MTV, and then they had, I don't know if you guys remember the Gospel Music Channel. Like there was this
Yeah.
like 24/7 Christian music channel that ran for like 5 years, and they would have different ones. So one was just random music videos, one was dedicated to like rock, one was dedicated to like, rap or whatever. So I remember finding them at Winter Jam, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. This is different. Like I've never really experienced like pop punk." And then I think it was being at home and just randomly seeing their Friend Like That music video, and just like I said, thinking, "Oh, this is different. I haven't seen a band like this before." And so that kind of just jump started like jumping in and kind of discovering not only them but also other people in the pop punk genre.
That's cool. I can't remember for me what it was that made me when I saw this record at Lifeway pick it up. I probably had heard some of it before, some of their stuff before, but I think I was just intrigued. Probably won by the $5 price tag on it. But
always helps.
yeah,
Always helps.
but it looked like a good deal because it was like 20 songs for like $5. And I'm like, well, I might as well just pick this thing up and see how it goes because I liked pop punk. And so, and yeah, it was a fun album to kind of dig into and listen to. I think something about the name too, just kind of like caught me like, oh, there's this Christian punk band that's talking about like letters to the president that they would write. And I'm like, that's got to be interesting to see what it is that they're going to say.
Yeah.
So something about that. I was a little taken back by that's pretty much the theme of like one song on the album and the rest of it's about girls, but
Yeah,
boys like girls.
they do. Yeah, so relevant in every conversation.
So, cool. Well, let's kind of walk by this track by track and kind of dig into it. First track on the record is California. So what do we think about California?
I feel like this is probably Hawk Nelson's most famous track, maybe, which I feel like it's really weird when you kind of like look at this song and you compare it to anything after Jason left, because like this is just such a good comparison of there was like, like we brought up John James earlier, and I feel like Newsboys, there's a huge shift from like Peter to when Michael took over, and I feel like with Hawk Nelson it's the same way. But I feel like it's super catchy. And I think that, as someone who knew the band, it got me excited, kind of like the nostalgia going. But I think from a perspective of someone who wouldn't know the band, I think that you would go into, okay, if nothing else, I'm going to get just like some fun songs on there.
Yeah. Yeah. John, what'd you think?
I really like the song. Had been on, mission trip to California, like fairly, kind of around that time,
Mm.
when I picked up the album. And so I was like, oh yeah, California, I've been there and yeah, I had a really good time, out there. And I was like, yeah, let's pack up and move to California. I've got some friends out there now too. And it's really got me excited. And since then, I'm like, oh, the cost of living and the politics and all that. But back then, when I was younger and naive, and well, it's still just a great song. It's just like Brandon said, it's just fun.
Hmm.
It's just a fun song. And like when I discovered Hog Nelson, I mean, I was a big fan of Reliant K. It was kind of like, oh, it's like a second Reliant K that I can listen to. Now I
Hmm.
have two bands. So yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, that's cool. It is just a fun opener song. Yeah, I never thought about it in the context of that Bakersfield trip,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was a fun trip. Yeah, I like this one. It's super catchy. I like the guitar at the beginning. I feel like it kind of is a great setup to the album. Like the theme of the song, California fits the vibe of the song. There's even like surf guitar
Hmm.
that like happens in there, and so yeah, I think this is a great way to kick off the record.
Next, we move to Things We Go Through. John, how did you feel about that track?
It's another good track. I thought, the actual sound of the song is sort of in contrast to kind of some of the bummer things that they talk about.
Hmm.
It's a really just jumpy, energetic song, but then they're just talking about, you know, things we go through. And
Hmm.
it's just life's hard sometimes, and that's why you need God, you need him on your he's always on your side, but you need to, just trust him because and just divorce and it's hard growing up, but just pressures of life and all that. So it's just, yeah, it's after the first song's really fun. It's kind of maybe a more serious and content song, but it still sounds fun. So
Hmm.
it's really relatable and easy to get into.
Yeah, my favorite thing about this song is when they start the verses, there's like this like softer guitar that
Hmm.
plays under it. That's not just like the like pop punk rhythm guitar. And I love that guitar tone
Hmm.
and that guitar part. I think it works really well. That's my big standout thing. I also wrote down for this, they love gang vocals. Because
Yeah.
they do them on almost every
Hmm.
song on this record. But yeah, it's good. I love that guitar.
I think I could definitely see where someone could think that it's too much of a shift, but for me, I enjoyed that it showed a more serious side right off the bat. Because I think a lot of times bands like a Hawk Nelson, if you have like 10 tracks, you'll have eight of them are this fun, 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 and then you have two that it's almost like it just comes to like, such a halt, or it's so different that it just feels very out of place. That
Yeah.
it's like all you've been singing about is girls, but then you have a track where they're like, "Oh man, let's talk about this thing that happened to a friend," or let's talk about this, this big thing that's going on in the world or whatever, like social issue. So I enjoyed that kind of right off the bat. You knew that you weren't just going to get a full track of California, but also it was you can talk about more stuff without it being this huge shift. Like there's a balance between the two worlds.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. All right. What about track 3, Every Little Thing?
So again, this was the first one that I heard and didn't know it was them. So I spent a lot of time researching this song and being a teen guy, I was like, man, girl that hear another song about girls, but was totally relevant for me. I was like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. This is fantastic. Girl
Hmm.
loves Jesus, and I mean, yeah, sign me up. And if it didn't work out between them, I was like, maybe he can introduce me. So it was an awesome introduction to Hawk Nelson. I loved it. I thought it was it was totally relevant to my life, and I just really enjoyed it. It was great.
Hmm.
That's cool. Yeah, I think this one works really well. It's the melodies are good. I like there's a solo in there. I like the hand claps. It's like
Hmm.
the traditional thing that you do on like a super pop punk song like this.
Yeah.
You got a key change that happens. Lots of good things that are happening. And it's just like if you have a Christian pop punk album, I
Hmm.
feel like you're required to have a song like this on it. Just like the stereotypical, can I just find like the girl that loves Jesus? Like,
Hmm.
um, you have to write songs like this. There's so many MXPX songs like this. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, it's Reliant K. It's just required. So I mean, it's got to be there, and it's there. There it is.
Yeah, I feel like it's just your classic like fun song about a girl. And I mean, I feel like it's not trying to like change the world or change music or whatever. I feel like it's there just to kind of be this fun little like song singing about a girl. So I feel like it does what it's supposed to do on
Yeah.
there. Next we move to From Underneath. Joel, how do you feel about this track?
Yeah, so this moves in like a different direction, right? Because it's an acoustic song. Even though you've still got this is the good thing about pop punk. Like you can strip everything away and just have an acoustic guitar and accomplish the same thing.
Hmm.
As I was listening to this, I'm like, they could have done this full band. Like this, it's the same kind of songwriting. It's just stripped down to an acoustic guitar. But like, I think that drop fits because they're dealing with some like much heavier stuff
Hmm.
in this song, and so the pulling back helps carry that. I was trying to do a little research on this, but I felt like maybe this is something to do with like his dad or
Hmm.
something. I'm not super sure. You guys may have more insight on that, but just musically and the vibe of the song, I felt like worked really well and fits well with the fact that they're dealing with some heavier stuff. So
Hmm.
Yeah, the standout part to me in the song was the I guess kind of bell sort of sound at the start.
Hmm.
Do do do. Like I don't know, something about that. I was in band growing up and had this like massive bell kit that I had to lug to school on the bus. And for some reason in high school, no one else could read music in the percussion section. So like anytime there was a song that included bells, like that was always my song. They were like, "Oh yeah, you go over there, do that." And so, not just kind of the heavier content, but just that it immediately started with something that was really relatable. And that way to me, I was like, "Oh, this is fun," bells. And it just stood out, still stands out. Like when I was re-listening to it um, for this, I was like, "Oh, it's the bell song. This is great."
Um,
So
I feel like Hawk Nelson just does acoustic so well. Like I think that maybe my favorite Hawk Nelson release was they were like I think it was like the Lighter Sides one that they released with Crazy Love, but it was just like all just acoustic stuff. And I feel like they do it so well, and it's cool when you can have these like full band stuff, but then you can also do acoustic and do that well. So it just stood out. Because even just like live, like I saw Hawk Nelson when they were touring, and then I've gotten to see Jason Dunn twice solo, and I feel like honestly, like I would put both shows like kind of the same. And I feel like
yeah,
that's such a testament when you can have something that is just a lot of like production and all this stuff, and then you just have a guy with a guitar and a harmonica, and you're still being like, I'm loving this, or I feel like I'm still getting that same song, even though it's without all of the electronics and backing stuff and all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool. Yeah, it's a good one. All right. Track 5 is the title track of the record, Letters to the President. What do we think about Letters to the President?
I had a question for y'all. Whenever, like, I guess as someone that, like I said, I got into their like Friend Like That. So I probably listened to this album maybe like 2013 or 2014.
Yeah.
So when this first came out, like, was this controversial at all? Like the stuff that they were talking about, or they were like, oh, you can't say, you know, like crackhead, like, or something on. Because I mean, like, I know for me, there was like, I remember like Neon Horse was pulled from stores. I remember like I tried to go buy John Rubin's Sex, Drugs, and Self-Control. And I was told by Lifeway, we do not sell that kind of stuff. But then I went and found it and I was like, actually, you do. It's right here. But so I was wondering, like, was that something that it all was, wow, this is pushing the envelope? Or was it like, no, they're just singing like there's nothing.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, as someone who ran the music department at a Lifeway, I feel like certain edgy stuff is allowed as long as it's disparaging of like sinful stuff and sinful people. But like if it's like edgy for any other reason, then it's not allowed. And so I don't think that there were any issues with this, just because I feel like it's like talking down to all the right stuff that it's okay for Christians to talk down to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked. I thought it was a bold song. At first, you know, I kind of had to figure out. I was like, wait, you know, the president, and they were talking about the parliament, and I was like, wait, what? And I realized they were Canadian. I was like, okay. But that Tommy is a crackhead is probably my favorite line on the whole album. So it's because it was just really like, wait, what? You know, but I mean, it catches your attention and it really makes you think, just kind of like the rest of the song. So I'm glad it was in there because it, you know, it was memorable to this day for me. Just thinking about this album and that song specifically.
Yeah. I like this one a lot. I'm still a little confused by the whole, like, I'm like, why doesn't he just write a letter to the president? You know what I mean? It's like, which I guess the song like sort of is. And then because he's like, but for now I'll start with something or something. Like, is the song the starting with something? Like, I'm just a little like unclear on all of those kinds of ideas.
I think, and I don't know if this is what they're going for, but I think that my interpretation would maybe be like, I need to write this, they need to change this, but then it's like maybe like, you know, the change starts like with you, like type of thing. Maybe it's like, you know, I think about like today, or I think about stuff that I'm like, this is wrong, or this needs to be changed. And I think like, well, I could go outside and go stand outside the White House and yell. I'm probably going to get tackled, but you know, like you start thinking about like the little things where it's like, you have a problem with that. Where can I step in and say, you know, instead of shouting or writing letters, I could step in, but I don't. If Jason was here, he might be like, that's not at all what I mean, Brandon, be quiet.
I get the feeling that he probably would agree with you on that. I just don't know how, like, I don't know. It doesn't like come across super strong in the song. It feels more just like we're just going to kind of question everything, which is fine. It's very punk rock to like question everything. So.
I just hope that Tommy has gotten clean and that he's no longer a crackhead. You know?
I hope so too.
Because it's been a long time. I mean, I hope he's doing okay.
We need an
If he was
update
a real
to it.
person. Yeah. Like a new Tommy.
That would be a good song, actually.
I haven't
Like
even
that's
thought
what
about
that's what I would ask more than anything else about
it
this album.
until John mentioned it. I even think about like, oh, what if that was a real person? Like that completely changes the song. If this is like, yeah, we just were thinking about stuff, versus if they were like, no, these are real people that we know. And I'm like, oh, this song gets way more serious then.
No doubt.
So next we move to Right Here. Joel, what were your thoughts on Right Here?
Yeah, this is a song that fits here. It reminds me of the kind of songs that I wrote when I was young. It's like when you're young and you are trying to find the girl or whatever, then you want to write songs that are going to try and make the girls swoon. And this just felt like that kind of song.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just really fun to sing to, especially in the car, especially from a CD specifically. And I don't I still love to sing this song. I had well, this is more of an excuse. I had sinus surgery a few years back, and I don't feel like I can sing as well as I used to. And so that's like personally disappointing, but I still sing just as loudly to it. And this is, yeah, just one of those kind of simple, um, fun songs that just has to be on here, you know, and it is,
You
and it
sing
does a
the,
great
you
job
sing this one to Anna pretty frequently.
all the time. Yeah, yeah. I will probably do that after we get off of this because it's been long enough that she may be upset. So I don't want to. Happy wife, happy life.
I feel like for me, this was the first one that like missed a little. And I think like there was nothing wrong with it. I think it was just the first one that I felt like, oh, I'd already been here.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like leading up to it, the tracks were all like a little bit different. So it just felt like I was getting more of a variety. And when this one hit, and I think with pop punk, like I think on the Grace Graber one I mentioned that there's a lot of bands in that genre that, you know, you could hear a song and I'm going to think this could be one of 15 artists, you know, like it can lends itself. So I feel like this was the first one that was kind of like, okay, there's nothing wrong with it, but like this kind of falls into okay, I feel like I've already experienced this a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's an inevitability to that on a punk record that has 14 songs on it.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
it's just going to start to run together
Yeah.
a little bit at some point. And so,
But that's what I like about it. I think it really is like and Joel probably strongly disagrees with this. Like when bands just get so different from the sound that I expect, it's like, but I listen to you because of that sound. What are you
Yeah.
doing over here? Like I want, you know, classic Reliant K, not Air for Free or whatever, you know, like that kind of stuff. Like I would listen to someone else if I wanted that. So I definitely see your point, but for me it was like, yeah, this is exactly why I'm right here, you know, for this. So
speaking of changing things up, though, track 7, Recess, does that in a pretty significant way.
I'm going to go ahead and just say I have been feeling very nostalgic for like interludes recently.
Yeah.
And so when this hit, I was so excited because I feel like I miss the days of you know, like something I used to not appreciate as much, but on Me Without You's Brother Sister, the Spider songs.
Yeah.
I used to be like, why are these here? And now I'm like, this is so cool because it feels like I'm just getting this bonus. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's been kind of that 2000s that I've been revisiting. And I'm like, man, I miss this where there used to be these little fun, same with like bonus tracks. I miss there when there was this, you're listening to a CD and being like, okay, are we going to get like a hidden track on here or something? And so when I heard it, I was like, as soon as I just saw it, I was like, I don't even have to hear this. I'm already going to give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, I wrote down next to this one, can I have more of this?
yeah.
I just they went full punk rock, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's fun. You've got the fast drums, you've got the heaviness, the cool lead guitar. I'm like, I kind of wish this was an actual song, like they were fleshing it out. But I really enjoyed it for what it was too.
Yeah, I like kind of hiding it here as opposed to a secret song, even though that was a thing for a while. Because when you listen to something on CD, there's all this silence and you can't really zoom ahead as well.
Yeah.
And so this was just it's like, you know, it's like there's not necessarily a reason that's here except for just fun. And I mean, calling it recess, like who doesn't love recess? And last year, my daughter had recess 3 times on Fridays. And I was like, that's exactly how life should be. This is amazing. Everybody needs recess.
Yeah, it's good to take a break from the pop punk. Yeah. All right, what about track 8, Take Me?
I like it slowing down a little bit. I feel like it was nice. So yeah, I felt like it was a little nice slow down moment.
Yeah. I felt like this was my first like kind of to the record. It's one of those like songs that's like, all right, we're gonna write like a love song to God, but make it vague enough to where you're not into God, then like you won't know that it's about God. Which sounds like super vague, but you could totally, as an outsider, be like, oh yeah, this was for a girl or whatever. There are parts of it that I really loved. They do this weird thing at the end though, where the melody gets off of the rhythm of the song, and I feel like it's like we're gonna try and do something creative, but I don't feel like it really super worked, and so I don't know. Not my favorite track on the record, but
Yeah, it's not probably not one of the standout ones, but it's fun. It's easy to sing to. Uh, Back when I could sing, and it just, yeah, I feel like they kind of perfected, especially on this album, like they're not really quite like power ballad type things, but they're a little bit slower maybe than, especially after recess. You got to slow it down,
yeah,
and
sure.
everybody's tired, running around. So it works fine. It's fine. It's yeah.
Next up, we have Someone Else Before. John, how do you feel about this track?
I I thought it was so I felt like some of the lyrics were kind of random, like the take the sip of my water part,
Uh-huh.
It's like it just felt really random, but not in a bad way. It was just like, oh, it's a weird lyric. And then it had the phone call in the middle, which was also unique, I
hmm
guess, to this song on this album. So, I appreciate it for trying some different stuff. And, I'm easy to please. I liked it. I thought it was great.
So I was wondering, because the phone call didn't sound like Jason. So I was wondering, like, is it another member of the band or like a friend or like their manager or.
No idea.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I wish I could say it was me and that like you guys are just learning some really cool trivia right now, but no.
So I guess we'll just say, yes, John. We'll just say this.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
learning it now.
Actually,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. Breaking news right here. And I'm learning it now too. So this is a significant moment in my life.
I think for me, this might be my least favorite song on the record. I don't know. It's breakup song, kind of par for the course. I feel like the second verse is kind of weird. I don't know. It's just not my favorite track on the
I'm
album.
currently taking a sip of my water, just like in honor of the song though. So,
I like the bass. I think that I really like Jason's voice in it. I like I don't know if you would call them like screams or just yells or whatever.
Yeah.
I really like when Jason does that. The phone call in the middle, I like just because I feel like it was random. Like I enjoy just I feel like you get away with it because they have presented themselves as we're a band that likes to have fun. Like we want to go California or whatever. And so I feel like you're able to get away with it. Like because of who you've presented yourself. Like I think like if this was on a Family Force 5 album, I would be like, yeah, that makes sense because there's
Right.
this like kind of chaotic energy happening. So moving on to First Time. Joel, how'd you feel about that track?
Yeah, I like this one. I feel like the record picks up a little bit for me again here. I like the guitar work. There's like breaks and pauses that are happening in it. It just feels like it kind of shifts a little back in gear for me on this one.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I it's a good song. I listened to it like 4 times this morning trying to think of more to say, but it's just I don't know. It's just an enjoyable song, and I nothing stood out one way or another. But it's a solid part of the CD. You know.
Yeah. I felt like it kind of felt a little repetitive, like the track a few tracks ago. But I still liked it, and I think that's I think that's nice, is that it wasn't like I'm skipping this. Like, I don't like it, I'm skipping it. It's more of like oh, okay, like I get it, because like to John's point, that's what you are like expecting. So it's like the track is doing its job. And so like, I might think it's a little repetitive, but I think, there's artists I love that I could see someone being like, they're doing the same thing, and I'd be like, no, he screamed differently a couple of tracks ago. This one is he's yelling, or he's speaking like Arabic or something like different with it. Next up, we're moving to Like a Race Car. What's funny is, as a huge NASCAR fan, I had people that assumed that like this was my favorite track, or that I'd heard it. I had never even listened to this track until last year. Jason Dunn was doing this like acoustic tour, and he came to Columbia, and we went and saw him, and I heard like the story behind the song and like him perform it, and I was like, this is really cool, and this has just been sitting here for the longest time. I was just like, okay. But I really liked it. I feel like it's like super catchy, and I think just like the visuals, I found myself thinking of like NASCAR races while he's singing stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm sure on YouTube there's someone who has put together like footage from like a NASCAR, I don't know, like a Fast and the Furious movie or something with like to this song. So I'm sure that's out there, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, this was the one song on here that just like didn't connect with me. Maybe it's because I'm not a NASCAR fan, which really came to head when I first started dating Anna, because her dad gave me one of those, contract to date my daughter or something that had all these in-depth questions, including my social security number and all these things. Apparently, I wasn't actually supposed to fill it out, but and her dad's super nice and not at all intimidating now,
No.
almost 20 years later. But one of the questions was, is NASCAR a sport? And I was like, I don't, like, because they're in Boone, which is right outside Wilkesboro, which, North Carolina, is just kind of like the birthplace of NASCAR. And I was like, I don't know how to answer this. And so maybe that's like, even now, just sort of coloring this song, but it definitely stylistically is way different than I think some of the other songs. And maybe I was just hoping for more of the same. I don't know. Maybe that makes me a bad person, but I was like, this song's just a little different than the other ones, and it just stands out, but maybe not in the right way for me.
I'm curious, what was his correct answer for that question?
He does not like NASCAR, so but not to offend you specifically. I went for it, and I was like, well, I don't personally like NASCAR. I was like, it's just not something that I've been around a lot, and like I'm a big basketball fan, so I was like, oh, maybe he likes basketball. I don't know. And so I was like, yeah, we'll go with no. And then he's going to put me and send me home. And I'll have to, drive 3 hours back to Raleigh in shame. But I got that answer right. I mean, yeah, we're still going strong, even though, and so Joel didn't believe that I had a girlfriend for like the longest time. He thought that Anna was completely made up. And I'm hoping it's not slipping back into that, because we haven't come down to see you guys in a few years. She is real. And again, she helped me set up all the technology here, because she's smarter than I am. So she's very much real and still wonderful. And maybe she likes NASCAR now. I don't know, but
She is pretty great.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that this song was different stylistically, but a little bit like John, I don't like the style that it was. And so it reminded me of like a Linkin Park song or something from back in that day, which just wasn't really my thing. This like a little more angsty, like hard rock. I don't even know what you call that. new metal, post grunge, who knows? Anyways, so it's just not my favorite genre, but I appreciate the fact that they went for something different. I would be really interested though to hear it acoustically, just to get a different feel for it. You know,
I really like. I'm honestly, I can't really think of a song off the top of my head that I feel like is not as good or is like, or is better. Like, I don't know how I'm trying to word this. Like, I don't think anything acoustic is not worse than what, like, it's either as good, if not better, than the original. So, and we get Jason to swing by here. They're on tour now doing I think it's like a couple of 2000s. Because I think it's Seventh Day Slumber. There's someone else they're doing like a tour around. So,
yeah, interesting. All right, track 12 is Late Show. What do we think about Late Show?
I kind of.
It's cool. Nope, go ahead.
I was gonna say I thought going into it I expected it to be like just another little interlude or something. So I was kind of surprised that I was like, well, I guess it falls into like song because it checks all the boxes off of it. I felt like it felt like just something you would hear at a concert, like randomly.
Yeah.
Like kind of just in between songs, the band's messing around or just, hey, here's a song we wrote, you know, the first song we wrote or whatever. So I feel like it fits the, like the theme of the album or like the other songs. And I feel like it's just different enough that it doesn't, for me, it wasn't repetitive like some of the other tracks I felt like were. So, but what were your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely one word like energy. It's just very energetic of a song. It does sort of feel like an interlude. I mean, it's a short track. I think it's less than 2 minutes, so maybe it's a long interlude, but it is also a song. Um, I it's funny looking back at it because it's like I feel like I probably had that level of energy then, and now I'm like, oh wow, because it's been like over 20 years. I'm like, I don't have that anymore, and I just remember, when I first met Joel, it was like he's like the coolest person, but I wouldn't use energy to describe Joel. And I feel like now in my old age, I'm still trying to get that quiet cool of Joel, but also reclaim the energy of like Late Show. So maybe I can land somewhere in between, but it's it's inspiring. Recapture the good old days, I guess. But
You got to be you, man.
Yeah.
You are your own version of
unless
cool.
I can be Joel, and then I should be Joel.
No, you shouldn't.
Joel, would you describe yourself with energy? Like, do you think energy or Late Show are ways you would describe yourself?
No, but I do like Late Show and the fact that it can. I feel like they're going back to their like punk rock roots here. This is a little bit more of a punk song versus a pop punk song. And so it feels a little bit more like we're going to try to do like an MXPX song, get a little more punk on this one. You've got the fast drum beats, which is the only time they do that on the record where they actually sing. And so I appreciated that about it. Yeah, it was fun.
Moving on, we move to 36 Days. Joel, what were your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I like this. We're slowing things down. I like the piano. It's fun to have piano show up here. Like that's a cool change up. It's like the song about being on tour and how hard tour is. If you're a band in this period of time, you have to write one of these about how hard the road is. And it just made me think, like, I wish there would have been a little bit more of this kind of influence, like, throughout the record. Maybe not, like, slowed down to this point, but, like, it would have been cool to have the piano show up some other places or whatever. But, yeah, I really like this one.
Yeah, I'd say this song kind of made me reconsider my whole life, because I was like a teenager and I was like, man, I want to be a rock star. I'm gonna be so cool. And then, like the more I thought about it, just listening to the song, I was like, I hate being in a car. Like I walk my son to school now, and my daughter's school's like a quarter mile up the road. And anytime I have to go further than that, it's like, oh my goodness, like did I pack all this, the suitcases? Like, I just feel like I'm going on a trip, and just to think that being away from my mom that long, like he was talking about, it's like I still live like 12 minutes away from my mom, which is a lot of fun. But also a thing maybe. But yeah, it was like, I don't know, maybe I don't want to be a rock star. Maybe I could still be a rock star, but not have to do the touring part. I don't know. It gave me more questions than answers, I think,
Hmm.
which was like mind blowing at that time in my life. So
Yeah, I think for me this is probably on my Mount Rushmore of favorite Hawk Nelson songs. It's another one that I highly recommend listening to the acoustic version.
But then you lose the piano.
That's true, but you get the harmonica in it. I think too. The
ooh,
first time I ever heard this was another one I heard live, and he had the like guitar, and he had like the harmonica like necklace or neck brace thing or whatever
Yeah.
you wear, and I was just like, "That's cool that he's playing that and the guitar." Because at that point, I was like, "I can't play either one of those." I was like, "He's doing both those at the same time and singing. That's pretty cool." Um, but yeah, I loved it, and I think it reminded me kind of the second track, that you could have this like deepness, and it just showed that it wasn't just this band that's just singing about girls and then occasionally throwing in like a song about Jesus or whatever. I feel like it just, and I know Jason's talked too about kind of how the last years of Hawk Nelson, there was kind of this like not being the most like authentic. And I felt like this album, like you can feel this like authenticity.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that with this track.
Yeah, I think it's a really strong one on the
Hmm.
record. It's good. All right, last track of the record, Long and Lonely Road. Brandon, what did you think about this as a closer?
I think it was a great ending track.
I knew you were going to love it.
We just had this discussion about last week's review, that I guess like thinking of it as a concert, I think yeah, you got to end with a, there's this like, excitement and all. You can't just end with like a, we're really like quiet and then we just walk off stage. You got to end with like this, everything's going on, and I feel like this is like, I love 36 days, but I think that if they did like a 25th anniversary tour of this album or something, I think I'm not going to enjoy it as much if they end with 36 days, unless there was like a encore or something.
Yeah.
But I think that this kind of sums up, and you get to bookend it with two kind of these happy and just, like more upbeat or excited songs.
It's cool. John?
yeah. My son really loves to shout, and he loves songs where people shout, and he only has one volume. When he talks, when he whispers, it's loud. Um, when it's someone's asleep, he's loud. And so just a song where people are shouting, and it's awesome, just to kind of end in that way. I think it's the perfect way to end, and I think it's even stronger just because 36 days is like before it.
Hmm.
It's just the contrast between those two, and then you just get to end with a bang.
Yeah, I agree. I love that these are the two last songs on the record, and I actually think the way they handled it is right. I love
Hmm.
that there was a drop. It felt like, let's contemplate the journey a little bit
Hmm.
before we end this thing, but then let's end with a bang.
Yeah.
And I thought that worked really well, and so I enjoyed that. I love the gang vocals. I love the energy. Yeah, I think it was a really strong close to the record. So a lot of fun.
Hmm.
All right, we did it. So
Yes.
that's kind of the track by track. Let's talk about kind of our closing thoughts and maybe ratings of the record.
Hmm.
I can start.
Okay.
Do
So
it. Yeah.
yeah, so it's fun because I obviously knew this record, bought it a long time ago, and had listened to it. It had been though a long time since I had listened to it. I hadn't pulled this one up in a while, and so it was fun to go back and listen to. I do think though that since when I bought this album and spent time with it, um, I like I long for like a little more like musical depth
Mm-hmm.
in what I listen to. And though I think that there are some really good melodies and songwriting here, it I just wanted like a little more
Mm-hmm.
texture to the album. Um, but all that to say, I think I enjoyed it from start to finish. And so I'm going to give Letters to the President by Hawk Nelson a 3.25 out of 5.
Okay. Um, I think, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, John. Since like you have a history of reviewing the albums and having to look at them, because me and Joel, we talk a lot about like, reviewing an album on its own without having any other information about it. Whereas I feel like for me, sometimes I fall into I start comparing it with all the other Hawk Nelson albums. So it's like
Yeah.
sometimes it gets swayed by, well, if this other one's a 5, this one is not, close to that. So I'd love to kind of get your thoughts on, whenever you go into an album, what outside influences or information you either pull in or like exclude. But with that said, I feel like for me, it was cool going back and getting to see what their first thing was and kind of knowing what they would become. It was cool kind of seeing the stuff that followed them everywhere, whereas the other stuff that's like, oh, I feel like they played into that less, in later ones. But I think that it checked the boxes of it was a really fun album. You also had your moments where like there was authentic, we're going through this or we're talking about our faith, not just let's
Yeah.
check that box. So I feel like for me, I've got like probably a 3.7. That's where I'm sitting at for it.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it is interesting talking about how you review things, especially with bands like this, where there's a lead singer change, Jason left. I think I definitely like the Jason Dunn era of Hawk Nelson more than the, more CCM sort of
Mm-hmm.
friendly uh, Jonathan Steingart era. But yeah, I think you do. I think you do have to try to take it as it is. And I think
Mm-hmm.
looking back at something's a little different than, if I had been the one to review this for Jesus Freak Hideout in 2004, maybe I'd review it differently than now. But for me, just kind of coming back and listening to this album, like, I'm 16 again. It's just, I'm trying to move out to California. Like it's just really good memories. Just remembering like a time of Christian music where like Christian music was cool, and it's still cool, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
not as many people know that now. But just like it was, kind of around that era with like Anne Boleyn's, Never Take Friendship Personal, like Emery the Week's End was coming out. Like it was just, especially for me, just discovering all this new music and just sort of growing up and becoming, my own person. It just conjures up those memories again of just that time of my life. So I think for me, I would probably give it. I don't want to get, well, I'm just gonna go 5 out of 5. It's just a time of life thing for me.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I just it's such good memories. I don't know. Just kind of how that shaped me into, maybe not wanting to be the rock star. Then I sort of went to college and wanted to, work in the music industry and ended up like, interning at a record label. It's just ended up me
Mm-hmm.
being mostly uploading her CDs to digital,
Mm-hmm.
because that was that time of life. And then I, interned for this other record label and they tried to get me to sign autographs for one of their bands, even though I wasn't in the band. And just it's albums like this that just led to so many like experiences that I was able to have, and I'm thankful for that. Just kind of made me who I am. So I love this album for what it was then, and I still love coming back to it now.
That's awesome. I love that. So this rivals for you like the best of Boys Like Girls up there.
Yeah, no, I mean, probably, I hate, well, hopefully Boys Like Girls is not listening to this. But it's probably better, because I can play it straight off the CD for my kids, and there's no words that I have to like talk over or, bleep out in my own creative way. And yeah, there's a little bit more content, approved content to it,
Yeah,
and I really like that about it. So
that's cool. Yeah, and I think even for me, like it's important to remember we do have to take this as what it is, and it's the first record by this band.
Yeah.
And I wish that the first record that I put out was anywhere close to being this good. I do think, man, this is such a strong like first album from them, and obviously they continue to go on to do really great stuff for a period of time, and so that's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Well, this has been super fun for us to dig into and listen to. Let's kind of finish our talk of this by looking at the lyric of the week.
It's time for the lyric of the it's time.
So I picked the lyric of the week this week from the song From Underneath. From underneath, I promise to erase the past and let my heart forgive the former you, replace the dark of old and start brand new. I never thought I'd see the day I walk toward the end of life and turn the other way. I'm reaching out to take my father's hand. I just love the message of that song and that song altogether. I thought it was really cool. So, well, John, man, we're super grateful that you chose to come and hang out with us and join us this week. And I'd love to have you back on sometime. Where can people find you, interact with you? You've got books, you got all kinds of stuff. What do you want people to know?
Gosh, that's a really great question. So I've been working on a new book for like 10 years now. I was trying to get it out before, our daughter was born, and she's like 7.5 now. So I think you can still find my other books, Burwood Forest, on Amazon, possibly, but probably more importantly is joining that Joel Ainsworth Enough Said Facebook group and get those numbers back up, you know, get the numbers back up and the participation in there, hopping again after 19 really good years.
That sounds like a terrible idea, but I guess people can find you there. So
They can. I'm there. Well, I maybe, yeah, I'm not frequently there, but I could be there more.
I'm gonna go join it right after this this podcast.
Yes, we're multiplying. But thanks for having me, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
yeah, well, of course, you guys, please don't feel like you need to go and do that, but you can follow us at Hey Are You Listening on Facebook. You can subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review, and we're just thankful that you keep showing up and keep listening. And the more that you do that, the more encouraged we are to keep going. And it's been fun, and we're looking forward to hanging out with you again next week.
Hey, are you listening? This ain't